And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell-Blanken, R. Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester. With me is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell-Blanken. Tyler, I'm post-COVID once again, 3 times in just barely over a year. It's unfair. It's ridiculous. But I know it's not what we're here to talk about. I want to talk about clothes, Tyler. Tyler, Jess wants my FTR hoodie. She loves it. It's the most comfortable hoodie she has. She loves that it's colorful. She asked me to find one that's different on the shop. There's none that are that colorful, that don't have people or faces or logos. We're here for it. But more importantly, I want to ask about your hat and find out how you're doing this week.
Man, what a lead-in. I have questions for you already. This is the zip-up hoodie, correct?
No, pullover.
No, this is a pullover.
Yeah, pullover.
Oh, I missed that part. Okay.
Yeah, just the plain mid-weight pullover hoodie from Pro Wrestling.
With the FTR.
The Living Legends.
Yeah. Okay. With the rainbow.
The stripes. Yeah, the stripes. Okay. Yeah.
Wow. Shout out to Jess. That is amazing. Yeah. Okay. So we got to start with clothing. Absolutely. Wearing the hat, not just for fashion, but for a specific purpose. Kevin Durant has been traded to the Suns. I just saw their Facebook post yesterday. I think he's in the building. I don't know when in the world he's going to play his first game, but he has landed in Phoenix, as many have for the Super Bowl. Arizona's really busy right now, but I am so excited.
Yeah.
I'm committing to writing a piece on this. I'm not sure when I'm going to finish it, when it's going to be released. Hopefully very soon. GimmickInfringementPod.com. We'll talk about that later. But I'm so excited about this trade, man. First and foremost, really bittersweet that we're saying goodbye to two beloved players, 2 homegrown guys, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson. Both were instrumental to the Suns' run to the championship a couple years ago. So sad already, but we knew that the team would have to give up some intriguing pieces to land a superstar like KD. I can't wait, man. This is really exciting. The Suns were not in NBA championship conversations. I think the consensus was hopefully they'll make the playoffs, but probably a first round exit, second at best. Now they've completely pole vaulted into being a favorite for the championship. Of course, this is all health dependent, but if you're telling me that we get KD and Devin Booker playing together, conservatively, 2 of the top 10 or 12 players in the association, paired with hopefully a healthy Chris Paul, and then DeAndre Ayton, former number 1 pick, former U of A Wildcat, is probably your 4th option. I feel great, Brad. I'm so happy today.
Yeah, I bet, man. I'm going to be watching the Suns. I have to. I'm going to go. I live in Arizona. They're my team for the foreseeable future. Since Detroit's going to be fielding an entire court full of centers.
That James Wiseman acquisition was curious because they already have Marvin Bagley and these big guys who just haven't quite panned out yet.
Yeah, and with Cade down, I think they just didn't want to wait because that time frame is just. It's going to be a minute, so they're banking on their young talent, and I don't know. They're holding out for the future. It feels like, which hopefully is bright, but right now it feels like they're in. Your team went from number 1 contention to a championship. Mine went for number 1 contention for a lottery pick. So,
but you got Jaden Ivey, and
yes.
Is Dwayne Casey still the coach there?
I don't even know.
Okay,
I feel like he got traded too.
I haven't watched the Pistons game.
I haven't watched since I want to say
Chauncey Billups and Rip Hamilton. That's what I'm talking. That's what I'm talking.
I watched week 3. I watched past week 3. I watched opening night for Pistons opening game where they played. I think they played the Magic. Pretty sure it was the Magic. Right. I can't remember. Yeah. But they started 1-0 and then lost like 5 straight. 6 straight, something like that.
The Suns were number 1 in the West for maybe a week or 2, and then I blinked and they were in play-in contention. They just dropped precipitously.
Yeah, so all of my Pistons consumption since they started just pistoning was
Great
me
verb.
catching it on the timeline, and that's it. Like
Exactly.
when I told you that I was a casual fan, I'm the most casual of guys. I'm not even a casual fan. I'm casually looking at my fandom from the rear view mirror, going like, "Oh, I wonder if I can scoop a Rick Mahorn jersey." Like it's been a minute since I
Good
gave a shit.
shout.
By the way, those like 1990 warm-ups, I want one of those warm-up shirts. They're so nice. I love those things.
Yeah, I mean the '90s were, I don't know if we've said this on air or just off air, but the '90s were just such a golden era for so much of life, but particularly for clothing and fashion and
Yeah.
design.
Well,
'90s were that
your
decade.
hat. Your hat. They just took the Pistons colorway from the Grant Hill years.
There you go. Yes,
It's almost
shout
we
out.
got the white, the black, the yellow, the teal.
Yes, my dad
All of
actually
it.
got me
Yeah.
this hat for my birthday
It's
too.
amazing.
So stylish, but also meaningful. I just got to put in a shout for us, Brad. You know, we try to put ourselves over every now and then. It is important. Dare I say it's essential. GimmickInfringementPod.com. We have new pieces up there. I want to start with yours. Brad, you want to tell the people about your piece, kind of not reflecting, but I guess reflecting is a good verb to use on the wrestling community, the IWC, and how it feels like we have to choose a side. We have to be pro AEW or pro WWE. Tell us about this great piece available on the site that you wrote.
Yeah, so I was looking at the site, especially the reaction to. I was thinking about how people reacted to we talked about it last week, the booze regarding Cody, the booze regarding Cody during the Sami segment with Roman, and how the internet was like, well, it's this or it's that, and then it's, well, AEW is a failure because of blank, and WWE is a failure because of blank, and it's this or it's that. Meanwhile, we're missing out on New Japan, or we're missing out on AAA, or we're missing out on MLW, GCW, all these different things where those places are essentially playgrounds for the larger indie circuits. And I even made sure to include the kind of local events like the one that you attended. Forgive me, I can't remember what it's called. What was the name of that particular event?
Championship Wrestling from Arizona, Red Carpet Rumble.
It was Red Carpet Rumble. That's what it was.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, that was sponsored by a car wash. Those things still are
The duck was
important.
there. The
Yeah,
mascot. Yes, he was there.
but you had talent from all over. You
Yeah.
had a lot, mostly obviously independent talent, but there was AEW talent there. There was just talent from everywhere. Kirk Connors was on the card, and I don't know if he's still with New Japan, but he's, he just got talent that's been in all these different places. Colt Cabana was signing autographs, lots of stuff there, and I just think that's so cool. It's take the wrestling where you can get it and enjoy it while you have it, because these talents are there. And what keyed me off was the LeBron breaking the scoring title. That's what I actually made me go, oh, okay.
Great point. I totally that feels like it was a month ago already. Yeah, that was a big deal.
Well, obviously, right? And the arguments like who's the greatest of all time, who's the best of all time,
Of course.
I separate the two. I don't know, man. Like for me, you can't have a LeBron and all these other things without an MJ. But if I'm going to go best player ever, it's LeBron. It's not even close.
Okay, I'm
But
so glad we see this eye to eye. A lot of people I love dearly in my life give me a hard time. I am 1000% a LeBron guy.
but I also I watched Jordan. I paid a lot more attention to Jordan, but I had to. Like LeBron's just sort of available to me. If I want to watch LeBron, I can just go online and there's 800 LeBron clips available for me. So, when I stopped watching basketball regularly was when first run LeBron on the Cavs knocked the Pistons out of the playoffs with that infamous shot run down the court.
Yeah,
Just
you
crushed
got
my soul.
as a Pistons fan, you have a very intriguing history with both of these GOAT candidates, the two GOAT candidates.
Yes. Yeah. Michael giving all credit to the bad boys because it made him get bigger and stronger and tougher. And they're like, if we can get past them, we can beat anybody. And they did, and they never looked back. And I think Michael Jordan is, in terms of greatness, for me, it has to be him. Like nobody was doing commercials before him, right? Like there were no battery commercials, Gatorade commercials, McDonald's commercials. That was him. Shoes. We called them Chuck Taylors, but they were just Converse All-Stars. And tell me anything about Chuck Taylor's career, like anything at all, Tyler. You can't. We're just gonna move on from there. But But LeBron, man, he just transcends anything we've ever seen. That dude is a freak of nature, and he's one of one, and it's incredible. But I say that because we have to go see, like, we have to choose him, or it's got to be, we have to rank, we have to put people in a hierarchy. I don't know if I could separate the two unless I say greatest and best. LeBron's the best. Michael's the greatest. That's the way I look at it. And in my head, there's a distinction there. To other people, they're like, no, there can only be one. Why? And the other thing is that we got to watch and appreciate MJ in his prime, in all of his glory. Like, everybody turned into that Jazz game. We wanted to see what would happen because we knew he was on his way out. He was getting older. This is probably it. It wasn't, unfortunately, but it was probably it. And we see him win. Flashbulb City, people at home. I remember jumping up and down in my living room. I was going bonkers at my parents' house. I thought it was awesome. I didn't hate MJ for beating the Pistons. It was Michael Jordan. Who cares? It's Michael Jordan. This is the difference, and this is what prompted me to write the piece. LeBron, nobody in the arena watching. Like, literally, the only eyes on that man in the arena were on the court with him, were on the sideline with him. Everybody except for AD, who just seemed to be upset and sitting down, and that was all very weird. But everybody else, eyes on LeBron through their phone. Everybody had their phone up. They're watching him through their phone. They're watching him through a TV while they're there. Like, just appreciate the moment. You don't have to prove that you were there. Take a picture of the ticket. Like, if you want to prove it. What are you filming? Now you're filming his greatness for you. You're filming yourself probably reacting to him. It's weird, man. And if we continue to do this or that, and obviously there are political parallels. Team red, team blue, always, right? You're pro this, you're pro that. You can't be this and that. I'll always go back to, there was I won't say their name, but there was a representative, or actually a senator, who was like pro-life, but was a Democrat. If you said that today, people's brains would melt. And it was a very strange time to look back at now. But at the time it was like, yeah, people got to be this thing of whatever they wanted to be. And now you can't. You have to be this or that. If you're not with us on this one issue, you're not with us on any issue. And it's just crazy thinking for that kind of stuff. But it transferred to sports, and it transferred to entertainment. You're an AEW guy or you're a WWE guy. And I find that unfortunate. So I wrote about it. It was going to be one thing. It turned into something else about midway through. And it became about the word or. And that was the important thing. So thank you for letting me have my diatribe here, my COVID fueled diatribe here. But Tyler, man, you put in some work this past week. Tell the people about it.
Oh man. Well, first of all, thank you for such an eloquent background on the article. I didn't even realize all that went into your piece. So much appreciation your way. My words will probably be a little less eloquent. I just loved working with the fellow 19 member. So shout out to Des, formal name, government name, Desmond Powell. You can find him on Twitter at Desmond Powell _. He has a great show, Hip to the Games, which we've mentioned a few times on GI. That can be found at Hip to the Games on Twitter. And it was just wonderful, man. I wanted to talk about the music of the 2010s and how influential they were to me. That was my high school and college time. So lots of memories, lots of music. So Des and I, it was really cool, man. On our site, we have an article that we co-wrote. It is the top 10 songs of the 2010s, specifically hip hop. So Des chose 5 songs. I chose 5 songs over a 10-year stretch, which was really difficult. But we picked our 5. We shared our memories with each of those. And he was so cool and so gracious to have me on his show, in which we talked about Drake for nearly 2 hours. So if you know me at all, you know I love Drake's music and discussing Drake with fellow fans. So this is honestly a dream in the making, is to have a platform where someone else who's followed his career really from the start him and I could just go back and forth. So again, Hip to the Games, that was episode, I believe, 56 for his show. Him and I talked about all things Drake, the come up of Drake, our favorite albums from him, and then how we're wrestling with, are we still Drake fans now, even though we haven't loved his projects over recent years, and really just diving into that conversation. So I'm so proud of us, Brad. We are putting in work. We are truly more than wrestling.
Yes.
And speaking of wrestling, it's probably time we jump into that conversation. Are you ready for my WWE question?
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
So you and I are huge fans of the promo in professional wrestling. Okay, wrestling.
Easy, Elmer.
Exactly. When done to perfection, it is art. Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman had one for the ages on Monday Night Raw. What did you think of their segment, and how helpful has this been already to getting fans on board for the main event of WrestleMania when Cody Rhodes challenges Roman Reigns?
I thought it was hugely helpful, like enormously helpful. Might argue too helpful. We'll come back to that. We'll circle back around. I thought this was incredible. This was one of those segments of the year, and there already been like 4 or 5 of these. They all involve Paul Heyman in some fashion. Maybe not speaking, but he's in the ring. There's the Bloodline Sami stuff. My God, that segment where I don't want to go too down. I'm going to leave it alone. Cody coming out, and apparently, I think it was Fightful Select reported that there was some of it wasn't known going into it. It was like, this is what we're going to say. So all that stuff about how desperate the Rhodes were and how ECW basically saved their lives.
$100 in the bank account, right?
Yeah. Paul Heyman probably didn't know all that. He knew it was desperate, but he didn't know the details. So a lot of that came out of nowhere. So I think finding all of that out. Heyman is so good because he's like the consummate professional in the ring. He will maintain his character and let his guard down at the same time. Like that was real emotion. Nobody can convince me otherwise. No way that was acting in the beginning. That dude seems like he loves his people, like loves them genuinely. And I know the Rhodes are his people, and I know there's a lot of Paul guys and Paul families, and especially his ECW guys. And to be honest with you, like I think a lot of people that Dusty Rhodes ECW run might have been the first time they saw Dusty. That was mine. I'd never seen Dusty. He was, like he was around and he was wrestling when I was alive, but I was like 3, so getting to see him do that stuff. And then, I might have been around for Polka Dot Dusty, but we won't talk about that. Tower, this is incredible. The reason I said that it was probably too good, because it ended with that line about Roman Reigns being the son he wished he had. Damn. Paul managed to, in like 2 sentences, bury Dustin Rhodes completely by saying, yeah, your dad said you were his favorite son. And it's like, God damn. Sorry about that, Dustin. And then set up the match more and make it personal. And that line was so good. I just come here and I just always want a challenge for these belts, and you all have to make it personal. And that's what it is now. Now it's personal. I was immediately invested, and Paul selling the fear was so good. All of it was perfect. Okay, that was Monday. We get to Friday. Sami's in the ring, cutting a promo. I cared far less. I feel like it took away from Sami's steam a little bit, because the way they set that promo up made me think, yeah, Sami has no chance in hell at all. And I never really did think that, which is, if he doesn't win, is going to be a payoff that I don't know will be super worthwhile. Because Cody made it a point in the beginning of his promo to talk about Sami and say, maybe I won't be fighting Roman, maybe it'll be Sami. But that being said, he then went on to say, I'm going to personally take them off your boy at WrestleMania. Well, if he doesn't have him at WrestleMania, like, I don't know, either you're giving away the bag here or something else is happening that we haven't seen. We still have another week of build until Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, Elimination Chamber is this weekend somehow.
I can't believe that. But we have that little bit of time to get to a build that will matter for that, to convince us that maybe Sami has more of a chance. And right now, I don't know. I think this is the Jey returning to the bloodline. He's going to murder Sami, and then we get a Jey versus Sami at WrestleMania. And that's where Sami will go over, because that could be a really interesting feud along the way, because there was all that hate in the beginning to "you're my brother" to "no, there's even more hate," or it's Jey turning on Roman, which I don't think will happen, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is setting up a Sami. Like, I think Jey's for sure returning to being full-fledged bloodline, and then we're gonna have Sami versus Jey, whether that's a singles or the tag match that a lot of us desire. Yeah, Sami's. I don't think he's winning this weekend in his home country, unfortunately. But fortunately, like you said, Brad, I think the community is now fully on board, hopefully with Cody versus Roman. It seemed like the storyline really was setting up for Sami versus Roman at WrestleMania. And in terms of just like what is the best story that could be capped off at the biggest show of the year, of course, Sami versus Roman. But the way we're leaning into embracing Cody versus Roman is, as a self-identified Cody Mark, is something I'm really excited for. And frankly, as you may have seen tweeted out on the official GI account at GIPod19, to me, it's evident that Cody is the guy. We've been asking for a year and a half, 2 years, who is the guy to dethrone Roman. We found him in the form of the American Nightmare. There's no question in my mind.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also think that this might be the time for Sami to get murked by both of the Usos in the ring. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Roman's not. I don't know how this is going to play out. I just feel like the Usos are going to be doing something to Sami here that's not going to be any kind of good. Roman's going to leave the Usos, or he'll tell the Usos to take care of it, and that's when we get a returning KO to set up that tag feud.
Predictable isn't always a bad thing. You have to send the crowd home happy this weekend at Elimination Chamber. The obvious way to do this is exactly what you said. Sami loses, throw in the boos from the crowd, but KO, the night ends. Last shot we see is KO saving Sami, and then we're off to the races for that tag match at Mania. Yeah, that's going to be, it's predictable, but it's going to be glorious.
Yeah, I can't wait. Maybe they have something up their sleeves.
And maybe they do. Maybe we're wrong. Yeah. It's always a possibility.
It's Hunter. It's not Vince. So we'll see what happens.
Right.
Okay, Tyler, I have 2 questions for you. This one's a little bit shorter, and it is related to tag team wrestling and the Usos. So this week we had Jey Uso coming back to help defend Jimmy with Jimmy, the tag titles. We got the "Acknowledge Me as Your Tribal Chief, I Acknowledge You" Sami Zayn segment with Jey in the back, which I thought was awesome, which makes me think Jay's going to kill him. Was the timing of the Jey return mishandled, considering the long tournament build for Braun and Ricochet as these credible threats cobbled together, put over by commentary constantly?
Great question. It was strange to see him back in this way. I don't know that I want to say mishandled, because I think sometimes taking an unconventional approach in hindsight isn't bad, but the way this was set up, like you said,
let me give you one more add. I wanted to add this part.
I'm ready.
Sorry to cut you off. The other element was that it was in like the middle of the night. Middle of the card. Okay.
Yeah. So it's one thing if Jay's returning, this past week on SmackDown, okay, but even how he was presented on the show, when he was presented, definitely odd to me. The whole tag team tournament, on one hand, I love any time we see tag team wrestling getting shine in WWE. But on the other end of things, there was no doubt in my mind that whoever won this tag tournament was not going to beat the Usos. And unlike Roman and Sami, which is a predictable finish this weekend, to me, this wasn't. If you would have told me 2 months ago, Brad, that Ricochet and Braun Strowman, after Braun's tweets, Ricochet and Braun Strowman were going to be a team, and they would be competing for gold on SmackDown. On one hand, I would be so thrilled because Ricochet is my favorite wrestler in the world, and I want good things for him always. But on the other side, him and Braun, I get the appeal of big guy, smaller guy.
Yeah.
But in no world do I see them being tag champs. So even just the format of these guys were the two to win the tournament and thus get a title shot, I never believed for a moment that they were actually going to take the belts off the Usos. And I don't know if that's an issue with me as a viewer, if that's an issue in terms of the booking of it. But when we have tournaments, I want a believable threat to be victorious so that when we head into this big title match, there's at least a sliver of me that thinks, well, do we see a new champ crowned for this? I didn't expect that at all. It was so predictable. The unveiling of Jay, if you will, was a little strange. I don't know if I'm ready to say mishandled, but definitely not the optimal way to bring him back. What do you think?
I really hated it. I like that they did the crowd stuff. I felt like WWE decided to do way more crowd and backstage stuff to break up the in-ring stuff, which was working for me. Like, I really enjoyed the changing of the pace. That show went quick. Like, I felt like it was done. And Jay coming through the crowd was great. But having Jay come through the crowd super hyped to compete, I didn't like that. Like, it blew the drama for me because Jimmy was all hyped in the ring too. But I wanted there to be some contention there. And then, because if you're that hyped to go help your brother and defend those titles, why'd you dip? It doesn't make any sense. So, like, I really disliked how they handled that element of it. I also didn't like that it was in the middle of the card. I know why it was there. I totally get why it was there. If you put it in the middle of the card like that, then you can't do the backstage segments with Jimmy and then with Sami, unless you do them first, which then spoils the in-ring return surprise. Like, he doesn't get the Sting moment, the let's point to the rafters and there he is. So I understand why. I didn't love it. Okay, finally, my second question for you. I know I'm cheating. I don't care.
No, very persuasive. It was weird.
I had a lot of downtime this week because of the COVID situation. Jay White is officially out of New Japan Pro Wrestling, but apparently not New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong. After losing to Hikuleo, rumors have circulated for a while about the potential of a Jay signing with the Fed. If it happens, where does he fit on the card? Does he join a stable? And what is his ceiling in WWE if he goes there?
Ooh. I'm going to go solo, but part of me thinks, and hopefully this isn't too much of a retread from Seth Rollins a couple years ago, if rumors are to be believed that AOP may be returning to WWE at some point here, imagine an Authors of Pain paired with Jay White as a trio. I think that would be, and again, we kind of saw that with Seth and AOP. Thank you. But I think Jay White is definitely one who could maximize a stable. So for me, him and AOP would just be absolutely menacing in all the best ways. I'm going to borrow a Fightful report here, not even a report, but Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful. I believe he first mentioned this, and I am fully on board with it. John Cena versus Austin Theory at WrestleMania for the United States title, assuming then Austin Theory wins this weekend at the Chamber. Cena, I don't necessarily love this, so hang with me. Cena dethrones Theory at Mania. The following night on Raw, you know, the Raw after WrestleMania is must-see TV. John Cena does one of his infamous open challenges for the U.S. title.
Yeah.
And who is the person to come out? Switchblade Jay White. Jay White beats Cena, and then that's how we debut him. Initially solo, he's the new U.S. champ, but man, if a few weeks pass and we can get Authors of Pain back in there, that would be my ideal booking. What say you?
Man, that's a good one. So you don't see Drake Maverick coming out with Authors of Pain?
I love Drake. I do not.
Okay.
I think we just have to run back the NXT tapes if we want to see that.
Yeah,
or maybe that was main roster at that point. I don't even remember. I think it was NXT.
Still, I think it was NXT. Yeah, it was
Paul
NXT.
Ellering was gone.
I don't think Drake ever went up to main roster. I think he was always NXT. He's there now as creative, but so you never know. He could come out with him, but I doubt it. I think it would be really exciting. Number one, I don't know what is Jay White's finisher.
The it's not. He doesn't call it Sister Abigail.
No, but it's the same move, right?
The Blade Runner.
Yeah, it's the same
Yeah,
move.
that's a dilemma.
So
Good
does
call.
he have to change his finisher if he goes there? So I
Probably,
don't
right?
know. His Blade Runner is so much different than the Sister Abigail the way he performs it though.
Yeah. No
I mean, like,
forehead kiss as well.
yeah, and he just puts him in it and does it. He doesn't sit there and wait and hold it, where Bray holds it for a minute and then does it. So I really like the way he does it because it's like it's just happening quick. Um, that move and the Sister Abigail have always to me been similar to the Crossroads. I know they're a different hold, but like you're spinning your whole body and driving somebody to the mat. They all kind of look similar to me. I don't know if he would be able to keep it or not. That would probably be up to Bray. And maybe his first feud is with Bray. Maybe that's the one because maybe they could sell it as like, well, who knows how to get out of that move?
Yeah.
The better than people.
The winner of this match now is the sole proprietor
Yeah.
of the Sister Abigail / Blade Runner.
But I also don't want to see it. I don't know what a Jay White sanitized promo looks like either, because all of his promos that I've seen that I've really liked have been backstage New Japan promos where he could say whatever he wants. Can't do that anymore if you go there. So we'll see what happens. I don't know what'll happen, but I would rather see Jay White in AEW. I don't know where he goes in AEW. But I can imagine like if Punk does come back, a Jay White CM Punk program would be amazing. But I would like to see him anywhere he wants to go. AOP makes a ton of sense. I feel like him joining up with the OC if he came back now, as AJ's gone. Maybe the Good Brothers come out. They say we're down a man. We need some help. So we called another club member, and then Jay comes out. That would make sense. Until AJ comes back, and maybe then they get into their feud because I think we'd all want to see that. That would make sense to me. I don't know. I don't know what happens as far as the ceiling is. I don't know what Jay looks like in WWE. In AEW, his ceiling is the world title. In WWE, his ceiling is probably the IC or the US. I don't know if I see him as a world title guy, but I don't know what he looks like in there yet. So who knows? And historically, it's hard to know because we're going in a different direction with Triple H. And Jay White very much seems like somebody Triple H would love to have on his roster.
Oh yeah, no doubt. He's going to be money if he ends up there. I hope he'll dip his toes in the main events. He not just dip his toes, but swim in those main event waters. But like you said, a more, maybe to borrow your word, sanitized Jay White is very intriguing. Well, Brad, speaking of things we want to see, we have Monday Night Raw on Mondays, as we know. We love it, especially when it's actually good. But Mondays are also big because that is when you can watch The Bachelor for 2 hours. I watched this past week. I have some thoughts. I have a recap. I have a question for you. So if you would be so kind as to play my music, this is a rose from me.
And now, for a rose from GI's most eligible bachelor.
So here is my update for you, my man. Christina Mandrell, you may remember her, the content creator and single mom, thank you, from Nashville, was eliminated at the rose ceremony. Huge surprise for Bachelor Nation, myself included. Also, Bailey and Brianna were eliminated this past week.
Oh, you're down.
We're
neck and neck now.
I'm impressed that you recognize that. We're already getting a feel for Zach's style, Brad. If he does feel that romantic chemistry if he does not feel that romantic chemistry early, he's not hesitating to let the women know. Of course, we've seen this on previous seasons, but I think Zach is really getting to this quickly, right? This is week 2, week 3 of The Bachelor, and he's just letting someone know, hey, I'm not really feeling it with you. I think it's best if you leave, kind of deal. So in fact, the aforementioned Brianna, who you so astutely pointed out, one of my picks to win, she actually self-eliminated when her and Zach established there wasn't a mutual connection. So here is my question for you. Have you ever been in a situation or situationship like this where the sparks just weren't there? Maybe you started talking and you thought they were there, but it turned out they just weren't. Did one or both parties acknowledge it? Or did you stay in this perpetual, I guess we're kind of talking, but it's probably not going to be for the long haul?
Yeah, a couple of times. And like adult relationships, if we could call college adult relationships, I think that's fair. I think sometimes can be kind of confusing because you're hanging out with your friends and maybe you develop some feelings and you're not sure if you just really like hanging out with your friends or if there's actual feelings there because like I'm sure like in like sixth grade I probably had the same feelings of excitement because I was getting home early and in my backyard is the Pryles house and I'm going to go play some ball with Dave. I'm pumped to go hang out with my friend. I don't know what that felt like. I don't remember what that feels like, but I was excited to go hang out with Dave. Uh, you, Hanging out with a couple of friends in college, like I'm going to go hang out with my friend Amber or my a couple of other friends, Brooke, a few others. Um, like I wanted to go hang out with them, but I can't recall a time where I ever had like feelings for them. Outside of a couple people, and I'm not going to mention their names here, but because I know they're listening. They definitely know that we do a podcast together. Um, I think it's one of those things where I don't think either one of us recognized it right away, but it was just known. We didn't really talk about it. We just kind of got it. Like I tell my kids all the time in psychology, attraction's a weird thing. It's a very weird thing because somebody can physically look like the most beautiful person in the world. They are glowing to you. They are ethereal to you. And then you go and talk to them and they say some racist shit or some really apocalyptically dumb stuff. Just like stupid stuff. I can't think of a good example right now, but you hear them and you go, ugh. And suddenly somebody that was incredibly attractive to you is no longer attractive to you because your brain has to process all of the information at once, parallel processing. So you get your visual stuff, but then you also have this other stuff attached to it. And then they physically look different to you. So you might be able to appreciate that person without having any kind of a romantic attachment to them. Or you could go into it knowing that you should because you have so much in common and because you're so like-minded and then find out there's really nothing there at all. Um, I have been in those situations, but it's pretty rare. Tyler, how about you?
Yeah, well, first of all, phenomenal use of ethereal. That is absolute S tier word in the English vocabulary. Yeah, definitely been there. Something you said sparked an idea for me, so I'll just share. I think part of my growth as a man has been recognizing that you can be friends with opposite sex. You can be friends with women and it just be a friendship. It doesn't have to be romantic. I think for a large portion of my life, especially college and in the 20s, where it just felt like if I'm friends with a woman, there has to be some sort of romantic desire there, right? But some of the relationships I cherish most in my life now are the friendships I have with women, where it's just that, like, got each other's back, can confide in each other, can hit up each other whenever. And it's not weird. It doesn't have to be more than that. It's just a really beautiful friendship. It's taken me a while to get there, which I know may sound ridiculous, but it's so meaningful for me now. And I think I've grown to recognize, man, those are relationships that I really enjoy are just those friendships. And it's, again, doesn't have to be more than that. We're both on the same page and it can just lead to a lot of great memories.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I'll tell you that it changes once you formalize a relationship. I'll
Right.
leave it at
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah,
And an
yeah,
absolute another layer too, right? Is
yeah.
when you have that formalized relationship, you have to just be, you have to operate very, very thoughtfully. I would
You have to
imagine,
you
speaking
have to
as
respect boundaries.
a
Yeah,
bachelor. Yeah.
and if that person has a significant other, it makes it a lot easier to do a double date situation. So you can still hang out with your friend,
Yes.
but
There you
then
go.
there's no pressure and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's tough to navigate that stuff, but because it's not just your friendship at stake, it's your friendship and your relationship. And it gets even more complicated once you have kids, because then it's like, well, my kid's friends with this other person's kid, but I can't stand that other person. what do I do? That hasn't really happened for us, but there's definitely that stuff that's involved. It's politics. It's weird.
Exactly. I've
Yeah.
gone to movies with friends of the opposite sex, and you know, I've left the movie thinking like, "Oh, are we a thing? Is there something here, or is it just simply two friends wanting to see a movie?" And that's beautiful and that's great. So, yeah, I'm right
Yeah.
there with you, man.
Wow, that was fun. I did not expect that. I thought the lead in today was going to be, by the way, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. It's
Oh my
one day away
good,
after the
it is that time.
we can't give you roses, but here's a rose from Tyler, is what I was thinking.
Wow,
Man, we missed an
totally
opportunity
forgot.
there.
Totally forgot.
As soon as we
It,
started it, I was like, oh, damn it, it's February
it's
12th.
Valentine's week.
Tomorrow's February 13th when this releases. Hey, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Especially you single folks out there. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to to GI's most eligible bachelor.
Appreciate that. I love it.
I hope you have a beverage out of your bachelor cup.
Yes, yes, a great friend gifted me with that. It's one of my most prized possessions.
Tyler, hit me with your AEW question.
Yeah, man. So pretty straightforward here. You probably know where I'm going.
No idea.
We've done a pretty decent job of chronicling this feud over the last few weeks, and it finally happened, Brad. You're higher on
Oh,
this than me.
yeah.
The Guns defeated the Acclaimed in the main event of Dynamite. First, let me say, what an absolutely spectacular ref bump by Stephon
The
Smith.
best of all time.
That
I'm saying it now. That
Not
was
only
the best of all time. His neck is still on that apron.
dang, not only the backhanded actual movie took, but like you said, his exit from the ring,
The
and then when he
stagger
got back and
backwards.
did the counts.
It's a middle rope bump too. It wasn't over the top. It was a
No,
middle rope bump.
that was something.
Yes.
So the Guns are our new tag team champions. I want to know, of course, would love to hear your thoughts on the match itself and the fact that Billy Gunn or Daddy Ass, as some may call him, did not formally turn on the Acclaimed, which I think a lot of us suspected. So that was surprising. But of course, love to hear your thoughts on the match. My formal question for you, though, is what is the most likely outcome by the end of March 5th's Revolution pay-per-view? I'm going to give you three options. Most likely outcome: the Guns are victorious and are still champs. The Acclaimed reclaim their titles, or FTR comes back and defeat the Guns.
FTR still seems so up in the air to me. I don't know what their decision's going to be. And their contract doesn't expire until April. But Dax mentioned recently that he's been itching to go back and wrestle. So I have a feeling they'll be back sooner than later. And because they want to come back sooner, it's probably a let's God, how do I put this? Tony might put the belts on FTR to keep them around longer. It's kind of what I feel like. Let's give you the run that you should have had in front of the crowds as a babyface team, and who better to kill than the Guns? I think that would make the most sense from a political standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint, since they were beefing with the Guns for a while. I feel like this is a very long-term strategy because the Guns were coming out and doing shit against FTR or with FTR to screw them over and over and over again. And the last time we saw FTR on the screen, the next week, the Guns were out to talk about how they're dead and buried because it was after Final Battle, I think. And we haven't seen them since. So the Guns coming out to say they're dead, they're gone, there's nothing left of them, burying them publicly, and then going after the Acclaimed, who they've been feuding with for about a year now, it feels like. So, number one, I think the Acclaimed will probably win it back. I hope so. I can even see them doing some kind of gimmick match because they got cheated out of it. And I know they'll get a rematch because they're both homegrowns and Tony will have them do a rematch and people will be invested. It was too soon to take the belts off of them, given all their steam and their momentum. But at the same time, I don't know that they need it. I don't know that they need the belts. Sometimes the team will make the belts or the belts will make the team. I don't think either of those things happened with the Acclaimed. I just think the belt stayed in prominence instead of the Acclaimed. one made the other. I thought their title run has been really good. They defended it against really good teams. They won it from a really good team. But it's not something that I'm going to look back at and go, oh, remember all of those matches. The matches I remember are the ones they won initially, like those Swerve in Our Glory matches were great. I know we're talking about the run here, but the Guns, on the other hand, have been beating like dark teams and kind of it. Like I said, I think their selling and their facials and their acting and all of that stuff is top tier, like best in the company. Good. They just are, like, in the ring. What they do in the ring is so good. I thought that match was not a good match. I thought it was a fine match, but I did not think it was like, it was pretty meh, to be honest with you. It looked like maybe the moment got too big or something. There was just like, it was just kind of sloppy. It didn't feel like they had great chemistry together, I guess is the best thing I could say. Like, there's nothing wrong. It just felt like a match. And then to have a win off of that, where it wasn't really like slow build. I thought Billy getting taken out by the belt and that being the distraction to have Bowens get taken out by the belt made a ton of sense. Because otherwise they shouldn't have won. I thought Bowens was going to kick out, but he didn't. And we end up with a screw job and the Guns get the belt. I think the belts are the thing to make the Guns. Who has more heat in the company besides MJF right now?
Our tag team champs.
I don't even know if MJF that has that kind of heat. The kind of heat they have is thermonuclear. And I know that, like, people will say it's turn the channel heat. Nobody's turning the channel because they want to see them get their ass kicked. Like, that's the goal of a good heel. That's it. Like, I want to see them get killed. I want to see a murder take place. Like, let Bowens and Caster come out. I say if they're going to reclaim it, they're going to reclaim it before the end of February. Like, I think the Guns are going to have one of the shortest runs, and they'll get it back. But
are you booking this rematch to take place in Phoenix? AEW Dynamite, February 22nd.
So. God, I hope so. I would love to see the Acclaimed get the belts back. I think at that point, then they'll be even more meaningful to them. And maybe we have a triple threat with FTR at Revolution. And FTR and the Guns at Revolution makes sense since FTR has put over the Guns so hard. Like, they love them. They love working with them. I'm not high on this, Tyler. I just think, like, in terms of, like, I didn't want them to win right now. It's stupid, but it felt like there's a lot of heat there. There's a lot of investment from the crowd because there's nobody that's more of a fan favorite in the company right now than the Acclaimed. And there's nobody that has more heat right now than the Guns. It was the perfect pairing. And I think it was the right time to pull the trigger for heat's sake, but I didn't want to see the Acclaimed lose the belts at all. Like, they should not have lost the Guns. I'm mad about it. Also, they need to win him back. If they don't win him back, I'm going to say this is a terrible mistake, like a terrible mistake. But if they do win them back, this was the right move because the pop will be enormous. That moment will be huge.
No doubt. And we've been clamoring for the continued elevation of homegrown talents in AEW. So I think it's one of those things where it's kind of maybe be careful what you wish for. On one hand, we want these new stars. We don't just want the elite to be at the top of the card. We want to develop other people, which they seem fully on board with. But then when we get it, in the case of the Guns, maybe an act that not all of us are sold on, it's like, oof, I don't know if I want those homegrown stars to be the guys. Yeah. It's great heat, as you said. And the bar has been set so high in the AEW tag division that it's just different to see these two teams at the top of it. We're used to the Bucks, the Lucha Brothers, right? We've seen some absolute bangers from them. So I think our palette, in terms of what we expect from a tag team title feud, it's extremely high because AEW's bread and butter from day one has been the tag division.
Well, I think part of it is because the Guns helped turn the Acclaimed face.
That
you remember that? Like,
I remember them being at the Kia Forum after Double or Nothing, And that was when Bowens was still in the weird wheelchair.
Yeah.
And they were doing the they're in LA, but Austin Gunn
Yeah.
will say
It was all four of them and
the
Billy.
wrong city. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was yes.
Yeah, it was all of that stuff.
It
I
was
loved
good.
all of
Very
that
good.
stuff.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Um,
They were heels though.
they were all
In
heels, right?
canon. Yeah.
Yeah, and then suddenly the Acclaimed get turned on, and Daddy Ass joins them, and we have this new baby face, the Acclaimed. So the Guns are responsible for you could argue for lifting the Acclaimed to that next level, and we don't talk about that part ever. We just talk about how we don't like the Guns, and they're not ready and stuff. It's like, but what does it even mean? I don't know what that means, but the Guns not being on the main roster, wrestling top level talent and getting wins before winning the titles is part of the reason I didn't like this. It's like they didn't beat the Lucha Bros. They didn't beat any of the tag teams. They didn't beat the Guns. Didn't beat the Bucks. I don't think. Right? Like the acclaimed.
No,
The
definitely
acclaimed
not.
are getting wins. Top Flight beat the Bucks. Why
They
didn't Top
did.
Flight get the crack first? So like there's all sorts of things happening here where that I don't love how they won it as a team. I think they're absolutely the right people to win if you're going to go homegrown that haven't won it yet to help build their brand and build their credibility. But they didn't build any credibility leading up to it other than beating like I don't even know what Bear Country. Like who did they beat on Dark? Who cares?
Yeah.
The Wingmen. I don't have.
I'm not the person to ask. Yeah, those teams sound like the most likely.
Well, they put their
challengers
record
to
up, and it's like, okay, fine. And then they ignored the record because they did the Billy Gunn angle. But I don't know, man. Like, part of me hates it, part of me really likes it. I wish it wasn't the Guns,
That's fair.
but I can't wait to see them lose.
It's true.
Pro
We're
wrestling.
gonna be tuning in pro wrestling. Period.
Yeah. So my question here, I had two of them. I got rid of one of them. Couldn't even tell you what it is now. Orange Cassidy defended the All Atlantic title Friday night. This was either his 8th or 9th defense. I found one and I counted, and then I missed. It ended in like early January, so I don't know. I think Trent Seven was the last one on there. By all accounts, he's had a great title run, like a great title run. His defenses have been really good, fun matches with good opponents. Does any of it feel important? I was thinking about this while I was watching it. I had a crisis because I was like, I don't know that I care.
Yeah. Well,
but I should.
Yeah, 2 points come to mind. Obviously you and I have spoken about the amount of titles in AEW and how it's a little overwhelming. It's a little too much. So one, he has one of the newer titles in the All Atlantic, which hasn't really been established yet. Like, really, what is it exactly? How would you describe the All Atlantic title or the division itself? Remains to be seen. I think the trios belts have been much more fleshed out than All Atlantic.
Yeah.
So you have that, and then also for the character, one of my favorite characters in the company, the character of Orange Cassidy. This is the first time we've seen him with gold in AEW, and he has such a unique character that, the question begs, does he need a championship? He is just mega over just being him. Has it felt important? Not as much as I would like it to. I'm not willing to say it hasn't felt important, period, because I think when he's been in the ring and has been given time,
his work is great.
I think he delivers. Yes. Can't say it enough.
Yeah.
But also
Underrated.
we know that if we are to rank the titles in AEW, the TNT belt, even with its flaws, still feels much more important than the All Atlantic.
Yes.
But if we were to have a comparable title, I would say that the All Atlantic is kind of like TNT, just more worldly. I'm not ready to say it's been a total misfire, but it hasn't felt as important as I think Orange Cassidy's star level could command. How about you?
To me, it feels like the European title did when Triple H.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? It's there.
Right.
We don't know
he
what
does
it
bring it
means.
in a backpack, which pops me, but
yeah, I love that.
What is it more than that, right?
Yeah, and I think it's great. It's a beautiful looking belt.
It is. It is.
Where the hell is House of Black?
Yeah.
Like they were there.
I don't know if we're
gone.
getting that trios match at Revolution. I thought that was for sure going to be the trios title match at the pay-per-view, but I don't know, man. We're a few weeks out. It doesn't seem like it.
This is insane. Like, why give it to Buddy? Give it to Pac. Give it back to Pac, I should say. Give it to freaking Malachi. Malachi Black with the All Atlantic title
champion. Yeah,
would be perfect.
They need gold in some form in that group.
Yes, they're dying on the
really
vine.
Yeah.
They're like one of the best acts in the company, and they're non-existent.
I know.
Miro is still gone. Miro would be a great one to have that belt.
Amazing.
You want credibility immediately? Give it to that man. Like, I hate that, like, there's no creative for him. It seems, I don't know if it's just he's struggling to come up with ideas or if it's nobody's thinking about him, but he's healthy and ready to go and at home.
It's so weird. And he was white hot when he returned. Going back to that show at the Kia Forum after Double or Nothing, he was white hot. It's not as if the fans aren't clamoring for him. It's baffling to me.
Yeah, he's turning into, I don't know. I saw something this weekend and I don't know how much of it is just, it sounded like it was Meltzer. So who knows? It's probably pretty credible. That Baron Corbin, it's like, we don't know what to do with this guy anymore. So we're just pumping the brakes because we were trying to push him, put him with JBL, modern day wrestling god, but we didn't change his music and his stupid coin drop stuff. It like he's got like 9 gimmicks now and none of them seem to have worked. And I'm starting to think like Miro's gimmick worked flawlessly, but you don't know what to do with this man. It's like the opposite problem where none of the gimmicks work. So we're probably going to put him on the shelf for a while versus we're going to put him on the shelf because his gimmick works so well. We don't know what to do with it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know if I would call it unimportant, but it just feels like it's a thing that's there. And it's much better now that ROH is out of our TV screens. But I miss the talent from ROH. Like, I want to see Dalton Castle on my screen again. I want to see a few others. Yes. The Mark Briscoe, Josh Woods thing.
Oh, we are going to get there, my friend. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's a great segue because Tyler, we haven't done this one in a little while, but there were a bunch of things that we talked about this week and well, it's time for the Gutbuster of the week. Play the music.
And now it's time for the Gutbuster of the week.
Tyler, I never know who's going to go first here or not. So I'll go first. I, as you know, popped huge for the backstage Mark Briscoe segment. And I know you definitely had your reservations and concerns. And I don't know how much of them have changed about the Briscoe act.
I know. It's come full circle. It has.
But like seeing the clips and the way they talk and then seeing an interview with the way they talk was, okay, that was totally different. Those were 2 totally different things. One felt really problematic and this one just feels like redneck. And I was like, all right, we're good now. I totally get it. And Mark Briscoe's expressions, his ability to pop the one eye bigger than the other just hold it there is uncanny. His cadence was hilarious. The way he looked at the business card from Sterling and then, well, thank you, but no thank you. And he just kept going. Like it was so good. And then him grabbing and putting hands on Sterling only to be broken up by Josh Woods. By the way, a side note here. Josh Woods is a fine looking man. I don't need him to come out there with that mouthpiece, that like teeth mouthpiece.
Right.
When you look like an Adonis like that, and it just makes your head look weird and big. I don't know what the goal is there. I was like, just lean into it, man. You're pretty. Just lean into that.
This is a big development, man. You know how I feel about Carmelo Hayes and his handsomeness. Josh Woods is this is a big development for GI.
I've never seen him without the mouth guard in.
And you were
he looks different, like a totally different human being.
Enamored. Yeah. I'm here for
it. I was like, holy shit, this dude is like, he's a good looking dude. I didn't know that before.
Sure.
Like I had no idea because he just like, I don't know, he transforms when he wears that mouth guard with the teeth.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. That match is gonna go hard. I can't wait for that. That's gonna be amazing. But the memeability, if we can make that a word, of Mark Briscoe, I found 4 perfect shots that are just meme reactions from You can find it on my account if you scroll far enough. I can't say enough about how awesome I love this, how much I laughed. I've watched it at least 3 or 4 times. And every time I found something new to chuckle at, I thought it was perfect.
Yeah, it's awesome. You put me on to this. I saw your screenshots, screen grabs, and then I saw the clip, and it was so good. Quickly, in terms of the Briscoes, yeah, great call. This time a year ago, I can specifically remember you and I were messaging, I think even maybe with someone else too, and I had mentioned like, I don't get the Briscoes appeal. I thought I was in with some of their promos, but now I'm out. And then of course I learned about his late brother's very unfortunate comments years ago, and frankly I didn't really do enough research to find out that the late Jay Briscoe, how he took back those comments, but explained how he feels now is much different than what he said. And obviously in the past couple months, we've seen the outpouring of support from fellow wrestlers and them really vouching for, no, this guy treated me well. This guy's a good dude. He's grown. I think I didn't lend enough humanity to him in terms of, we want to assume the best in people and believe that they can grow and can, change perhaps some of their problematic views of the past. Like, I know I've grown and I've said things I regret, and that work is never done. So yes, yes for Mark Briscoe being hilarious, and I'm just happy that he's getting this moment, and it seems like it's going to be sustained. And then finally, Brad, you also put me on to another moment, specifically in AEW actually, that I found hilarious, which was, I was going to say Swerve Enterprises. That's not right. Mogul Affiliates. Yep. Beating up. Dustin Rhodes is having a rough week on GI, man. We started the pod with him. We're close to ending it with him.
Yeah, sure
Mogul
is.
Affiliates, Trench and Parker, kind of ridiculous, beat up Dustin Rhodes in the back, and then Swerve appears near the end of the segment and tells Dustin, says a few words, but then tells Dustin, "Happy Black History Month."
Yes,
like that. To me, that was a Gutbuster, just in a different way. I want to pass it to you, Brad, because that moment not only was a Gutbuster, but you tweeted about it, and someone very important saw it and showed you some love. Is that right?
Yeah, I got a retweet from Swerve. Let's
go.
I laughed because of that laugh was not necessarily a "this is really funny" laugh. It was more of, I'm laughing at how awesome this is and how much this kind of means. I also will laugh every time Swerve laughs because it sounds so different than his voice. It's like like it's Muppet like. It's amazing. It's so addictive. When he said Happy Black History Month after having 2 big white dudes that look like they rode out of Sturgis, is how I describe them, working for a black man in the company and doing his bidding, that's so good. That's so awesome. And then for him to go, after having those 2 dudes beat Dustin Rhodes' ass, it's standing over him, which I also feel like the black community might be outraged by, given how much his brother has done for black people. Because shout out to Cody Rhodes, Happy Black History Month. For Swerve to stand over, I can't believe how inside of a joke that is. People that don't watch wrestling that are still here are very confused right now.
And wrestling Twitter
specifically,
it's been a thing for a long time.
It's been a thing for a while,
for better or worse.
Yes, ever since his promo about his daughter, correct? Yeah, I think it was
the Liberty promo. Exactly.
Yes, it was the Liberty promo. Yeah,
on the build to the Anthony Ogogo match. Which,
that's right.
Anthony Ogogo, I don't know where he is now. I think he's on Dark, but that's been an interesting couple years for him.
Right. Well, anyway, him standing over Dustin's body and saying Happy Black History Month and walking away was amazing. I was cackling. I thought it was great. Such a great line to drop. Just seemingly for no reason, just saying it. I thought because
you can.
Just because you can, yeah. I thought it was great.
Well, Brad, believe it or not, man, we've reached the end of another great episode. I want to know what you are looking forward to most this week. We got some wrestling. I know that's where I'm going to head, but are you wrestling centric? Are you shoot job, personal life? What's going on with you?
I'm trying to think of what I'm looking forward to, and not looking at. like a car on a road with the headlights, and I'm standing in the road and I can't move. I have a lot going on this week. I have hours of homework, just hours and hours of homework, hours and hours of grading. I'm behind. Um, I'm looking forward to this week being over to get to next week so we can do this AEW thing. That's what I'm looking forward to this week. Now, that being said, I am looking forward to all of the wrestling we have. I'm looking forward to specifically is Elimination Chamber Saturday or Sunday?
It
Sunday, I think.
is. Oh, is it really? I thought it was
Is it
Saturday.
Saturday?
Oh my
Well, I don't
gosh.
know.
Let me see. We got the art. No, it's Saturday,
Oh, thank God.
the 18th. Yep.
Because
Let's
football
go.
season's over, and I thought maybe they would pull it on a Sunday. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to that. So by the time we talk, we'll be talking Elimination Chamber results, and I'm looking forward to just. I like learning and I like working. I like the grind. I like the busyness. I value my downtime and I love my downtime, but I'm looking forward to getting back to work and actually putting in work after a long week of being down with COVID. I'm sure you can tell in my voice it's not back yet, and the volume of coughing has diminished a little bit, but it's been a grind. So I'm looking forward to just feeling better and getting back to work. How about you?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Sending you all the healing vibes. Very wrestling centric for me. Like you said, we got Elimination Chamber. We also have New Japan's Battle in the
Battle at the
Valley.
Valley. That's right.
So, and I just looked up. It's according to Fight, it is 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So I didn't realize there's a bit of they're both happening on Saturday night, which maybe we can swing both.
Well, yeah, there might be like a 20-minute overlap or half hour
Right,
overlap.
but
I'm
it'll
watching
be
both.
from San Jose. Yeah, we have
I'll
not.
talk to
We
Jeff about that. But
we meaning the wrestling community. I think once Mercedes Monet did
money,
not
money.
money did not appear.
She said it because I'm Mercedes money.
Money
I
when
hate
she
that.
did not good synergy there. Good moment. When she did not appear in AEW, I think we all were just in our feelings and forgot. Oh my gosh, we have the Mercedes debut match. It's imminent. It's coming up, and not
It's
only is it
Kyrie.
not only is it Valentine's Day week, but it's Mercedes week. Mercedes versus Kyrie, Battle in the Valley. Let's go, man. I can't wait for that. It's definitely a wrestling focused week for me. I'm stoked.
I forgot all about it, so I can't wait for Saturday now. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Let's go. Well, Brad, man, what a blast. We covered so much ground in this episode as we usually try to do. We thank you all so much for rocking with us. We hope you had as much fun as we did. I encourage you to follow Brad on Twitter. I think Swerve is going to eventually, and you, like Swerve, should get ahead of the game. Brad can be found at Windduster. I can be found at Tyler J. McDowell. We gave you the plugs already for the site, so we hope you take a look and support what we're doing. And most importantly, we hope you'll join us on the next episode of Gimmick Infringement. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Good Pods, our premier partners, and Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.